Hello and welcome to the short 5-minute web demo on how VRPatience works. Now, if you're looking for all of the details, all the features, and see them in action, you are in the wrong place. Click on the red button at vrpatience.com, request your demo, because that is the first step to you training in VR tomorrow. Today we're going to learn 3 things. How does it work? What does it look like through the web? And what does it look like in VR? Let's get started. When I log into VRPatience on the web, I'm immediately taken to this screen where I can see all of the case scenarios that are available to me to run. They're here in the Cases tab. I can also see assignments, anything that is assigned to me, or from an instructor, what have I assigned to my students. Let's go back to Cases. There's some other navigation here about your account, organization, and all that other stuff. We're not going to get into that. Let's see what a case looks like. Here's the first one right here, this overdose opioid case. I can see a little bit about it right now. It's on a subway. I've got some dispatch information. Let's view the case. I click on view. Immediately I'm transported to the back end. I want you to take a look at what you have available to you. Look at this customization. You can change out the scenario. You can adjust the dispatch report. I can add patient conditions. These are all things that your student has access to when they arrive in the scenario. Like, what questions do I want to be able to ask someone who's at an opioid overdose? Well, I'm going to ask them, ma'am, can you hear me? They're not going to respond, so the other questions don't matter right now. But I can adjust and add these questions in so the patient, as the patient comes to, when they give them Narcan, these other questions start to populate. I just turn them on. I can put in what I want the IV to be available to them, what medications I want them to be available to them. Now this looks a little bit intimidating, but if you know your meds, and we know our meds, you know adenosine, what route you want to give it, just turn it on. The dosages are in there, you can set that later. Do you want your student to be able to give oxygen, and in what route? What procedures do you want your student to be able to perform? Compressions, PPE, doing their vagal maneuvers. So swapping out your monitors. Does your company use a Zoll monitor or Philips? This is completely customizable in this. You can upload your 12 leads. You can adjust the grading in this section. This really allows you to say, if you don't do this, it's a critical fail, right? That's important. Now, this is case logic. It's a little bit intimidating at a glance, but what you need to understand here is these groupings are all of the decisions. If the patient is given this med at this dose, this happens. But if they're given this med at that dose, then this happens. And your custom demo will go into detail on this. Let's go back. I like this case. I'm ready to do it. Let's run it. I'm going to click on run. This is the student perspective of the loading screen, and as you can see, I get a short dispatch and a start button. Start. I am immediately transported to the scene where I can see I'm on a subway, I have a timer clicking down at the top, and I have a patient. Doesn't look like they're alive, right? They actually are. If I get in close, I can actually see this patient is moving a little bit, and they are breathing. They are alive. This is a real scenario. Let's get going. I can put on my PPE. I can start asking questions like this.
The patient provides no answer.
The patient provides no answer.
The patient provides no answer.
Ma'am, can you hear me? Let's get an assessment going. I want to assess their face. Cool, clammy, and I can now be told all the way through my OPQRST in my sample and doing my physical assessment, what do they look like? Notable track marks of various stages of healing, right? Now, as a student, I can go into this and say, I need to do some stuff. I need to assess their breathing. My mouse turns into a stethoscope. I put it on their chest. Let's do the posterior. Those heart tones were getting in the way. As an instructor, you can adjust these heart tones and these lung sounds. I can do the same thing for a pen light, getting close to the patient's eyes. Look at that, constricted. What does that mean? I'm a competent paramedic. I see constricted pupils in an unresponsive patient. What does that mean? This should be changing, right? These pupils should be dilating and constricting, and they're not. This is competency training for your student. I want to check their vitals. Let's pull up the monitor. We set this monitor to be a Zoll. I want to see their EKG lead on there. End tidal, SpO2, their heart rate. Let's take a blood pressure, check their temperature and glucose. It all populates right here. I can come in here to treatment, select their medication. What do I want to give them? I want to give them naloxone. I have to pick what route, what dose, and I have to get this right. When I get this right, the patient will start to stand up. They'll start to sit up. They'll move. Their vitals will change. This is a dynamic scenario for competency training. When I choose intravenous therapy and I want to put on an antecubital IV and I go through this, Clicking on the mouse doesn't teach me how to put on an IV. I've got to do that in person with the instructor. But competency-wise, what size IV? What's the location? What am I going to put in it? How much? That is what you're going to learn in this. Okay, so this is what it looks like through the web. All you need is an internet connection. I'm using Google Chrome. That's it. Let me show you a quick snippet of what this looks like in virtual reality. I have a stethoscope here and I go up and listen. On my hand, I can see that my remote control has turned into a pen light. Coming from the side. Boop. Did you see that constriction? I can't believe how realistic that looks. You have to actually walk over and pick it up. There's the big problem. 36. Okay, so our monitor is giving us a ton of information here. That's what we want, just like on a real call. And that is how you practice your COVID-19 assessments in virtual reality. Okay. Now, I want to make sure that you understand what you just saw. This is the best virtual reality and web-based simulator available for emergency medical professionals. How do I know this? Well, you may notice that I'm actually wearing scrubs today, and I haven't worn these in a while. These are my old scrubs when I used to work in the emergency department. Look, I even dug up my old badge just for you. Watch this. I pull this out. These are the Vocera codes if I need to call and run blood or go to the NICU. I'm a paramedic. I'm also still adjunct faculty at our local college. What I'm trying to tell you is that the people who are building VR patients, we are emergency medical professionals just like you. So we understand what it's like to do a sim day for your students and have an hour setup on your mannequins, spending 20 minutes between students taking the clothes off of a rubber mannequin. It's time consuming and it takes manpower. You need a lot of instructors. But here's the thing. While you guys are all struggling with your mannequins, I was able to put a dozen students through 4 different scenarios in an hour. And it doesn't matter who the proctor was. Because quality assurance, they're all receiving the same education on a scenario that I built, and it's the same thing. And if I want to change it, I can just change it and customize it. And we can debrief and discuss, what did you learn? And I can immerse the students in an environment that I can't do in real life. I can't decide we're going to be on a subway today at school, right? No, I failed. Go to vrpatients.com, click the red button, and request your custom demo. Because this tool is way more powerful than you think it is. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good day.